evening, folks, from Rockingham Speedway in North Carolina for the WOSCRL Throwback Series brought to you by Future Design Building Materials. The Rockingham Speedway is a mile-long oval. As you can see, it's a little bit D-shaped. It's got fairly high banking in the turns for a 1 mile oval. It is pretty bumpy out there, and we've seen some drivers get in trouble because of that in practice. So hopefully during the race they'll keep it all together, but the turns and the banking are pretty rough. So the ambient temperature here is 76 degrees Fahrenheit. The relative humidity is fairly low at 39%. Cloudy skies, 7-mile-an-hour winds. We have a track temperature of 81 degrees Fahrenheit. That is not too bad. It's not super cool, but it's not too bad. It should be okay for the drivers and not create too much of a slippery surface. All right, let's quickly bring you up to date in the championship series. We are running round number 4 tonight. So after 3 rounds, this is your top 7 drivers in the points scoring. It is Drew Ballesteros that is leading the pack by only 2 points. Luke Doran has 112 points. Chris Stouffer closely following with 109. Then it's Russell Bratka with 99. Jim Foskett 95. Todd Liston 89. And Tristan Ferris is at 86. And that kind of tells you that it is pretty close in this series. Drivers are evenly matched up here. So we'll see some good racing here tonight for sure. If we're looking at practice here, we are seeing 10 drivers that have posted a time. There is one more driver in pit road. Jacob Vobry has not set a time yet. So the field is a little thin tonight. Maybe we have a few more minutes. Maybe some more drivers will show up. And, let's not have that spoil the fun. Hopefully we'll still get a pretty decent race out of this. It is, we're going to be doing 180 laps here tonight at the Rockingham Mile. We have one green, white checkered if we need it. We have a fixed setup race, meaning that the drivers have to stay with what iRacing or whatever the setup is given to them. They cannot alter the car. They cannot play with suspension settings, with cambers and casters and whatnot. None of that is happening. They can only play with the brake bias a little bit. And as far as I know, they can change the steering ratio somewhat. They have 0 fast repairs. We don't do fast repairs for these guys. And during the race, they only have 4 tire sets to play with. So they're going to have to do these 180 laps with 4 sets of tires. That will be it. Last week's winner was Luke Duran, and let's see, he is here, but we are not seeing him on track currently. This is, Jacob Wobry gets it a little wrong there, coming off the turn. It is currently Russell Bratka in the 2nd position. As you can see there, Ballesteros on the top spot there in the practice session. And we have Duran in 6th, and then we have Petrika. Finally, Wolbury has posted a time, and he has pushed himself into the top 10 there at 8th position. Bobby Petrika is in 11th position. It looks like everybody has been working some creativity this past week, because we have people running new paint schemes. I believe that, I'm not quite sure if that's a new one, but I believe that this is a brand new paint scheme for Chris Stouffer. Very nice. And I also saw, no, this is one that we've seen before. That is Jim Foskett. Oops, Bobby is all of a sudden gone. We've seen this one before. That's Ben Shelton. We've seen Michael Bussell come in. I believe Michael Bussell is a new driver. Patricia, you can see him there in pit road, and he has got a brand new paint scheme, I believe. As far as I can tell, I don't remember seeing this car. Wolbury is in his familiar paint scheme there with the M&Ms on it. Michael Bussell has joined us, the number 12. I believe that's a new name here in this series, so welcome, Michael. We hope you have fun, and let's get into qualifying. As you know, folks, the qualifying is individual. That means that the drivers are on the track by themselves. They get 2 laps. The best of those lap times is determining their position on the grid. They cannot see each other, but we can pick up anybody on track. Looks like the first one out was Wobry in that number 51 car, and we already saw Bratka out there as well. And Drew Ballesteros is also out there, and looks like he's on speed already, so you can see the suspension movement of this car, which is generally more than the modern cars to begin with, but on a bumpy track here, you can see that car bouncing around a little bit. Ooh, we have a little bit of a connection issue again. I hope we can stay with you here. And let's see if we can get some times on the timesheet here. It looks like Ballesteros is ready to post a time. He is quickest in the qualifying at this point with a 24.099, and it looks like he's either blown the engine or ran out of fuel. All right, we see Bratka in the second spot. Bratka has also brought it in after 1 lap. Stouffer is out there, and he is currently third with a 24.489. He did not improve his time. I really like that, the way that car looks. That's very pretty. Nice job done on that machine. Bruce Pearson brings it into the 4th position there with a 24.729. He pushes back a Wobry, who is still out there. Crashes into the wall there. That means that lap will not be allowed. You have to be able to run clean laps for the times to stand. And Bobby Petricka has a 25.248. That is the 7th time at this point. We have Todd Liston still working on time. We see Skylar Grissom has joined in at the last moment here in that number 24 car. He is here as well, so that means I believe we have 12 drivers on the track here tonight. We have 13 drivers in the race actually entering the event. Michael Bussell, the new driver. Yeah, that is a new driver. The number 12 car there. 26.698. That is currently the 10th time. Brian Underwood is on track there. Let's see if Bussell has improved his lap or is improving his lap time. Can't really tell yet. There comes the time. Yes, indeed, he has improved that lap time, 25.877, but it's still not an improvement in the grid position. Brian Underwood is on track there. He jumps into 2nd position with a 24.302, pushing everybody down. Skylar Grissom is on track there in that well-known 24 DuPont livery. And he looks to me like he is the final car on the track to set a qualifying attempt. I have not seen Luke Doran on track for qualifying yet. Skylar has put in a time, 25.017, pushes into 9th position. And the only one we are missing as far as an attempt is concerned is Luke Doran. Doran's 2nd in the championship standings, so Skylar turns it around on his 2nd lap. That disallows the lap, so this is the attempt that'll have to do it for him. 25.017 is his time. And you can see on the top left of your screen, folks, the final half minute of qualifying is ticking away here as we're looking at Skylar and his 24 machine. There we have Drew Ballesteros on pit road. No more attempts for him. Russell Bratka in the 3rd position, and those are the only active 3 cars, even though they're not running. but that's the only ones we can see right now. 5 seconds to go. We're going to come to a close here. Luke has not been out. I hope he gets to start the race. Would be a shame for him to lose many points if he's not able to start the race here. So let's bring you up to speed here with the grid. First car on the track is Michael Bussell in the classic Napa livery, it looks like. So very cool livery also. I like the creativity in this group. They like to keep it kind of retro, and that's kind of cool. Luke is on track there. Good for him. All right, so Drew Ballesteros will be on the pole. Brian Underwood will be alongside him. There is Drew Ballesteros. Then the second row will be for Russell Bratka, Christopher. Then it's Bruce Pearson and Todd Liston on the third row. Ben Shelton and Jacob Wobrey on the fourth row. Skylar Grissom and Jim Foskett on the fifth row, and the final row is for Bobby Petricka and Michael Bussell. And I am not complete here. The final spot there is the 13th position for Luke Doran. So we have 13 drivers on track here tonight. That is still not a bad field. That's pretty much what we normally have, I believe. So guys are getting ready to go. We're waiting for Skylar Grissom. He should be coming alongside on that inside line there, alongside the 47 of Jim Foskett. Skylar is taking his time to get on the grid. And again, folks, some nice... Ooh, there we see Petricka blinking out a little bit. I hope we are keeping everything solid here tonight as far as connections is concerned. Nice livery there for Bobby Petricka. Very cool car there. And there is Skylar finally on the track there. That means that we have everybody. There is Christopher. It looks like we're going to get ready to get going here. Once again, folks, a sponsor for this series is Future Designs Building Materials. We sure appreciate their support. A little bit of acceleration there for Drew to try and get some heat in those tires. Probably also just trying to get a feel for the car and how slippery it is under acceleration on that start. They are on the backstretch there, the entire field rolling, so 13 cars well on their way here. We're going to be doing 180 laps, folks. We have a time limit of, I believe, 2.5 hours. We'll see that once we get the green flag. That will show up on the top left of your screen as well. Pace cars in good field there, nicely disciplined.
Green.
There is a call on the radio. Oh, we have a 3-hour, 25-minute limit on this race. I'm sure we're not going to need that. Drew Ballesteros has a very good start there. Russell Bratka jumps in from third position there underneath Brian Underwood. Brian Underwood in the 20 car, actually passing Pearson and I'm sorry, it's the other way around. Pearson passing Underwood. Underwood in that 77 car, a little bit stuck on the high side there and losing quite a few positions there. It looks like some drivers are blinking out and in every now and again. Unfortunately, that means that the 15 way up high there, that is Ben Shelton. Little bit too high, losing a lot of speed there, and several positions dropping back to 9th position after a pretty decent start, actually. There's Michael Bussell already up 2 positions in 10th there, and it looks like Petricka has also lost out a little bit on that start. The fastest car on the track at this point is Christopher with a 24.74. He is the quickest driver on the track so far. Drew Ballesteros is in the lead, and he's got Russell Bratka in that number 11 car right behind him. And it looks like Bratka goes into that turn a little bit deeper and higher, and it's not really keeping him close to the 22 there. I'm not sure if he's doing that on purpose or not. Now he's trying to keep that car down, and that works a heck of a lot better, it looks like. The 20 of Bruce Pearson is closing in on him, and Stouffer, as he is the fastest driver on the track, is already trying to get a little racy there in that number 13 car, and trying to get his nose underneath that number 20 of Bruce Pearson. Let's check on Brian Underwood. He is back there in 5th position, and Michael Bussell is, looks like Ben Shelton's coming back at him. And the 15 car looks like he's found his groove here for tonight, and he is fighting back to regain what he has lost on the start. Ahead of the number 12 now of Michael Bussell, and it's Patrica in 11th position. Wobry and Doran are closing out the field here. Skylar Grissom doing, we have an issue for Michael Bussell, it looks like. Yep, he goes around too early on the gas, noses it into the wall. Very unfortunate. We are not going yellow because he was not obstructing the race line. He has taken a tow to the pit. As you may recall, folks, taking a tow means that you have to wait that time out. iRacing will calculate that recovery, but it looks like Michael Bussell is having some major issues there with a smoking car. That means extensive repairs, and we hope for his sake that he brings it back out on track again tonight. Not a very good start to his Throwback Series season. Drew Ballesteros still in the lead. Stouffer has picked up 2nd position, and he is still pretty quick. He is gaining on Ballesteros there. And once again, folks, they have to start managing their tires because they only get 4 sets to play with, and that means that they have to make it to somewhere like a lap number 45 to before they can even think about changing tires. They may not need all 4 of them. These tires on these older cars are not as sensitive as the modern day tires. They last fairly long. They will fall off, obviously, after 15-20 laps, but they last fairly long, and the gain with new tires is said not to be that significant. So we'll have to wait and see how these drivers play that tonight. We have Ballesteros in his number 22 Ford Thunderbird leading the pack still, with Stouffer in the Chevy behind him. And then it's another Ford, the green and black number 20 of Bruce Pearson. And then followed by a group of Chevys there, Bratka, Underwood, and Liston, all in Chevys. Then it is Grissom in a Chevy. Ben Shelton is the next Ford there in the number 15 Thunderbird. Then we have Foskett in a Ford, the number 47, and the field is filled out with some Chevys there, Bobby Patrica, Wobry, and Duran. And it looks like Duran is starting to feel a little bit better here. His lap times are not bad at all. Everybody is pretty much in the same... Ooh, the 51 loses it. The 51 loses it and saves it from going into the wall. Unlike Bussell, he keeps it out of the wall. He just loses a lot of position and a bruised ego maybe, but other than that, he just keeps it going. Good save for Jacob. Absolutely good save. So Ballesteros is about 6/10 of a second ahead of Stouffer. It looks like Stouffer has fallen off just a little bit here. Bruce Pearson in 3rd position. Underwood still in 4th. Bratka seems to be gaining on that number 77 car. And let's ride along with these guys here. You can see the movement of the hands on the steering wheel. That means they're dealing with a lot of bumps on the track there. You can see constant movement there. That's just the bumps being brought to the steering wheel through the steering system. back at Ballesteros there. He is still leading the pack here. Well, we see some sparks flying. That means the car is bottoming out a little bit on those bumps. And if we take a look off the rear end, you can see how much movement that car has. And again, sparks flying, so they are definitely bottoming out here. 17 laps into the race. Michael Bussell is still on pit road there. Hopefully they can get that car fixed up and at least give him a finish on his first try here. 180 laps in total, so all kinds of stuff can happen. It is very early in the race, and obviously, you know, whatever happens, happens. But you can pick up quite a few of those laps if you get a little bit lucky with yellows and all and whatnot. So, but it looks like it's taken its time there. Stouffer now, it's still about a half a second, just over, and it looks like these guys are fairly even at this point. Stouffer is probably trying to just stay with him and save his machine and his rubber a little bit. Let's go on board with him. Oh no!
The yellow flag is out.
The moment I choose the on-car camera, he goes around. That is really, really unfortunate for him. Let's look at that again. He was already a little bit loose going into the turn, and then coming off the turn, he just loses that back end and noses it into the wall. Similar situation to what we saw with Bussell. Let's bring that back a little bit further. As he comes into turn one, look at the back end of that car. It actually steps out a little bit, and he has to correct that. He does so very nicely, and then coming out of the turn, he just gets on the gas maybe a little bit too eagerly and turns it around into the wall. Stouffer is still running. We are now under yellow. And let's see, we're having a few drivers going to pit road. Brian Underwood, Bobby Petricka on pit road, and of course we see Stouffer coming in, and then we see Wabry coming in as well, and Michael is still there. Take a look at Stouffer. The damage doesn't seem to be as bad as Michael Bussell's car. He's not smoking, so it is basically just a sheet metal damage on the front end. Maybe it's not impossible for them to bend the suspensions, although I don't believe he hit the wall that hard and with that front end in an angle where that would happen. So hopefully he'll be all right. Underwood coming back out, Petricka coming back out. Obviously they can't pass as soon as they leave the pit road. Stouffer is taking his time there to try and get some of that stuff repaired. And let's see if we can show you that on the track. There's the 12 standing still on pit road. I'm sorry, the 13 is Stouffer, the 12 is Bussell, so if Stouffer doesn't want to go down a lap, he really needs to get moving. Evidently the damage is extensive enough for him to stay there, and unfortunately he will be going down a lap there. And we'll keep an eye on Chris, and hopefully he can make it back in there as well. Lap number 23. Ballesteros has led every lap so far, so Drew is doing a good job. He's got another Thunderbird behind him now in Bruce Pearson, the number 20 car. And then in third place, we have the first Monte Carlo, the number 11 of Russell Bradka. And it looks like Stouffer has called it a night. Yes, indeed, he has called it a night. Unfortunately, Christopher is not with us anymore. He was third in the championship. Only, 5 points behind Ballesteros, and obviously that gap is going to be growing tonight. Michael Bussell is still on pit road trying to get that car fixed up, but we'll have to wait and see if he will come back out. Skylar Grissom has done some good work here. He has gained 4 spots since the start of the race, and he is currently running in the 5th position. Jim Foskett has also gained 4 positions, and he is currently running in 6th. Then we have Luke Doran also gaining 5 positions since the start of the race in 8th. He started in the back, as you may recall. And then Brian Underwood is actually the biggest loser at this point, 7 positions down. That
green.
does not take into account Stouffer and Bussell. There we go once again, folks, going into lap number 25 of 180. It is Ballesteros that takes the lead once again. Pearson was under attack by Bratka there, but he stays in 2nd position. Todd Liston there in 4th, and Skylar Grissom coming to his inside, and it looks like Skylar is going to take that position away from him. So Skylar now in 4th position. Still pretty close together there, the 24 and the 87. Then it's Foskett in the 47. Ooh, Shelton blinking out a little bit again. That's the 15 car. And then the 77 of Underwood. It looks like he has passed Petricka. And Petricka is there in 9th position. And then it's Doran and Wobry in the final spot there. And it looks like Ballesteros is having a fight on his hands here with the number 20 pretty close behind him. And Bratka not far behind either. Coming onto the main straightaway, it looks like Ballesteros comes off that turn number 4 a little bit wider than the others. That's okay. He's got that room. Why not use it? And then it looks like, Ballesteros almost getting over that yellow line. That is very, very tricky. It's very easy to lose the back end of the car when you do that. That transition from the apron to the banking is very likely to throw you around if you're not careful. But luckily he keeps it all together there and actually seems to be pulling away a little bit. It looks like Pearson's trying to keep that car lower than the 22. And succeeding at that, and Bratka is doing the same thing. Ballesteros is giving himself a little bit more room, it looks like, on coming off of those turns there. Look at the line he has here, way wider, closer to the wall than Pearson. Always interesting to see the difference in drivers and styles and lines. Looking back at Bruce Pearson's Thunderbird there, the number 20 car. And hidden behind him is Bratka in the first Monte Carlo. And here we'll see again that the Ballesteros taking that wider line close to the wall there. Pearson is really keeping up with him though, very nicely, and you see him actually closing in a little bit. And once again, turn 3 and 4. You can see those cars bouncing around. It looks like Brian Underwood is back on a roll again. He has passed Skylar Grissom, and he is actually now in 4th position, closing in on Russell Bratka pretty quickly. He has been in the pits on lap number 21, so those newer tires are working for him pretty good. And he is actually stealing 3rd position from Bratka there. Bratka in that black and red Monte Carlo, and then Skylar Grissom, ooh, running very high here, losing the position to Bobby Petricka. Petricka has also been in the pits, and that looks like those tires are actually working for these guys really nicely. So maybe Ballesteros is also starting to get a little worried there. Brian Underwood closing in on Bruce Pearson with that blue in that blue number 77. It looks like he is doing very good work. Oh, look at him coming off the turn there, so much quicker than the 20 car. Getting ready to go to the inside, and the 20 is taking the safe way out there. Doesn't want to force the issue this early in the race, obviously. Brian Underwood leaves him behind as if he's standing still and in hot pursuit of Drew Ballesteros. And closing that gap just visibly on the backstretch. Top speed seems to be pretty equal, but it's the turn speeds that are the difference there. Look at the gain in the turn that the 77 is making. That is absolutely tires working a heck of a lot better. And there you have it, folks. The fight for the lead is on. The 22 also takes the safer upper lane there. Not trying to force the issue right now. Lap 36 of 180. It's way too early to be risking everything. The 77 of Brian Underwood has picked up the lead here with new tires taken in on lap number 21, so that difference is going to equal out, obviously. It's not going to stay very much of an advantage, so Brian will be trying to create a little bit of a gap here between himself and Ballesteros. Oh, Ballesteros loses it.
Caution, yellow flag.
Ballesteros loses it. Trying too hard to stay with the blue 77 car there. Let's go and bring that back. There you have it. You see the back end stepping out, and then he almost catches it, overcorrects it. The back end bites at that point, and then it's just, you're just a passenger steering that car into the wall. It also looks like Skylar Grissom was caught up in this. Let's see what happened to him. It happens in front of him, and he has to take evasive action and then runs into the 11 of Bratka. And he doesn't run into Ballesteros, he runs into Bratka. So let's see what happens to Bratka. Again, it is in front of these guys. Bratka taking evasive action, barely touches that 22, and then Grissom cannot avoid him. Petricka has also been involved in this. And again, it's in front of him. He gets a little tap and also can't save it. And he is lucky because he doesn't touch any walls, and everybody is slow enough by now to let him go unscathed there. So he is lucky. All right, folks, that brings us back under yellow there with Underwood still leading. Everybody else has gone to the pits. Underwood is staying out. Bratka, Pearson, Liston, well, you can see it on the left side of your screen there. They're all down pit road, so who is going to come out first? It looks like Pearson is out first, and then Foskett gaining a lot of spots here on pit road. So that tells me he either did not take tires or not, at least not all four of them. Let's see. Todd Liston is in fourth, also gaining some positions here. Wabry also gaining positions. Doran in sixth, Shelton in seventh. And then, of course, Petricka, Bratka, Grissom, and Ballesteros, they're all still on there. They take a little bit longer on pit road, trying to get some damage sorted out. And it looks like Ballesteros is still sitting there. He's probably got some fairly big damage on the front end of that car, if we can see that. It's not really all that bad, but it might actually be crooked. That is hard to tell for us. I hope we didn't lose him there. I hope we can get it back underway. It looks like Bussell hasn't moved since his incident either. Car is still on pit road, but Michael is most likely not in it, and Stouffer is has definitely left the race. So now we are coming to the situation where Brian Underwood is on the oldest tires and all the others are on the newer ones. So we're probably going to see Brian get in a little trouble there. He did not pit, and obviously when you're the leading driver, you take the decision to either pit or not, but you can't you can't see what the others are doing. They have the advantage of reacting to you. You cannot react to the others. So Brian Underwood has not decided to go pitting, and the others have. So we're probably going to see Pearson, Foskett, and Liston be strong there at the restart. It looks like the lights on the Mustang there are out, and we're going to go racing into lap number 42 of 180. Brian Underwood will have his hands full here, I'm sure. Single file restarts as we did back then. The pace car will be coming in. There he goes. And Brian Underwood has an early start there, and that is his call to make. And he really needs that because he needs to put a little bit of distance between himself and Pearson. But it looks like Pearson is already gaining back some of that. And there in the turns you can see that the 20 just comes closer. So the 77 will very soon have his hands full here. That green monster will be will be coming closer there. There you have it already. Closing in fairly quickly here. Pearson and then Foskett. Foskett's being pressured by the 87. And it looks like Todd got his foot out of that one. Jacob Wolbury is challenging him now. And Underwood is definitely coming under pressure there, folks. Only a tenth of a second, and actually that nose is coming underneath that 77 here. Going into turn number 3, we're going to see that 20 take the position from the 77. And obviously Brian Underwood not forcing the issue there. He knows the situation. He knows that those guys are on fresh rubber, and the situation will even out in a little bit. He is probably not too worried about it, as we are only on 45 laps here of 180. We're at a quarter of the race. Foskett doing the same thing here, coming underneath. 77 washes up quite a bit there, and actually losing 2 positions there because the 87 of Liston is also gone by. And then we see Doran in the number 4. He is coming by, and then Wolbury is not far behind. So it looks like Brian Underwood is in even bigger trouble than we thought he would be. And obviously on that higher line, there is not the same kind of grip as on the bottom, but he has to wait for the gap to come down. He can't just steer it down if there's other drivers there, so he's kind of caught out here. Oh! The 51.
The yellow flag is out.
The 51 getting in trouble here. Let's bring that back for you. They are underneath the 77. The 15 behind the 51 here. And it looks like the 15 is getting a little bit more speed into the turn, touches the 51, and at his turn gets touched by the 11. And it looks to me like the 51 is on the worst end of the stick here. Bring that back one more time for you. He is clearly quicker than the 51 for some reason. Touches the back end and then also gets touched in the back by the 11 of Russell Bratka. Yellow once again. Well, we'll probably see some folks on pit road. Drew Ballesteros is still on pit road. He has not left yet, so I'm afraid it's not his night either. Underwood going into the pits. That is a smart move. Bratka, Grissom, Shelton, Petricka, all coming down pit road. for fresh rubber and hopefully some repairs that'll get them back on their way again. You can see that 15 a little bit crumbled up at the back there, and Patrica's car, the 25, also a little bit crumbled up at the end on the back there. Skylar Grissom doesn't look too bad, I don't believe. Can't really tell. We have a tool car in the way there. Looks like there might be some damage on the front, but it's not too bad. All right, that gives us Bruce Pearson in the lead in that number 20 Thunderbird, followed by the Thunderbird of Jim Foskett, the number 47. And then it's Todd Liston. They have decided to stay out. Doran as well, and Walbury. He didn't seem to come off of this all that bad. We might want to take a look at the damage at his rear. If they come by here, we will probably be able to see how bad it is. Wasn't that big of a hit. It's really not that bad. It's barely anything, really. So Shelton is actually in bigger trouble. He got hit harder than that he hit Walbury. Underwood now in 7th. Patrica doesn't look so bad either. He's got a slight damage on the right rear. That's from an earlier incident. Bratka is back out again, and he looks a little bit crumbled up on the front end. Skylar Grissom back in 10th position. Unfortunately, all his progress has been thrown out the window. And Busselskar is still there. So is Ballesteros. So we didn't really lose them yet. Hopefully they can get back out, score some more points. Brad got back on pit road. And we are going to go green at the end of this lap. So going into lap number 52, we'll be going green. And what is Bratka doing? It looks like he just topped it off and maybe had a little bit of damage repaired there. And now we'll see him catching back up to the field. There's that number 11 dot that's catching up to them. There he is already. And there we go,
Green
Pearson
flag,
on the gas. He pulls away a couple of car lengths from Jim Foskett. And Todd Liston staying with Foskett nicely. Foskett runs a little bit high there. The 87 closes in on him. But on the backstretch, they are pretty equal. Liston is right on his bumper. Then it's Doran in 4th, and Walbury, a little bit of a gap there. Brian Underwood. And I'm expecting Brian to come back through the field there again. He's got fresh rubber, so he should be pretty good. Then we have Shelton and Patrica, Bratka, and Grissom. Skylar trying to make up for that lost time, obviously. Pearson pulling away 6/10 of a second. And Todd Liston is putting pressure on Foskett. Doran also looking pretty strong there. It looks like said that 47 and the 87 are. Oh, there he comes underneath. Ooh, that was a good exit. That was a very good exit, and the 4 is looking to come with him there underneath that 47, who's on the higher line, and again, that higher line just doesn't have the same kind of grip. Although I will say that Foskett's coming off turn number 4 pretty good. Oh, he's trying to hang on. Liston is past him, but Doran is having a little bit more trouble there. And now he can keep that car low again, so the number 4 would have to take the long way around, and gaining again on the 87 of Liston. Meanwhile, Pearson is 7/10 of a second clear. And we'll have to see if Liston is capable of reeling him in, while also dealing with Jim Foskett right behind him. Underwood in 5th. So he has passed Wobry. And Underwood is matching the lap times of the guys in front of him. So he is, in fact, pretty strong. Last lap, he was the quickest driver. And yes, indeed, he is gaining on Doran. Todd is pulling away from Foskett there, and it looks like he is closing in on Bruce Pearson already. He's brought it down to 4/10 of a second, so Bruce is going to have his hands full here. He's got a Monte Carlo chasing him down. Foskett in 3rd, being torpedoed here by the number 4 Red Bull machine of Luke Doran. There he comes to the inside. Foskett has no choice but to go high, but he's got pretty good momentum there. The 77 closing in as well. And again, folks, the 77 is on fresher rubber, so that is pretty much explaining how easy he can make that look. Brian Underwood now in 4th position. Liston still at about probably about a half a second right now. So Bruce did in fact have something extra left for him. Luke Doran at 8/10 of a second, and then Underwood right behind the Red Bull machine. He comes underneath, going into 3. And he's got him. He can make that stick fairly easy. I think Doran also realizes that Brian has been in the pits, and he just has to let him go there. Brian now in 3rd position. Todd Liston is, he's dropping off from Pearson again. It was half a second. It's 6/10 of a second now. So let's see if Brian can do any better here. He is in fact a little bit quicker than everybody else, just a 2/10 of a second, but still. Well, we can ride along with Brian here for a little bit. It looks like Drew Ballesteros has brought that machine back out again. He is running in 11th position, 17 laps down, but he is moving. And Pearson is closing in on him. Obviously, he will be lapped at some point. Let's look at his lap times. Yes, he is about a second and a quarter slower than Pearson, so that's not going to take too long. Liston is about still half a second there. Underwood, it looks like he is gaining on Liston. Slowly but surely, and again, it is Underwood. Well, it's actually Liston that was a little bit quicker than Underwood this last lap. Well, let's check back further. We have Doran in 4th, Foskett in 5th, Shelton in 6th, Wolbury in 7th, Petricka in 8th, and Bratka is, we have, that was Ballesteros going pretty slow there. He's trying to stay out of everybody's way, obviously, and we have somebody else on the bottom there. That is actually Michael Bussell coming back into the race. There you go. That car's been fixed up somewhat, and he is back at it. Good deal. Let's check on Underwood. He's not really coming closer to Liston. It's actually Liston coming closer to Pearson. And now all three of them are pretty much together there. And it looks like Bussell is bringing it back on pit road once again. Let's go check on him. Maybe that machine is not running in a straight line very good anymore, and suspension damage may be what's killing him. He's bringing it back in. Well, I hope he gets it back out. I mean, you're here to race. You don't want to be sitting in pit road all night long. Liston is an Underwood. Oh no, coming underneath that 87. Ooh, both of them sliding around a little bit. That was a bit of a hairy moment there for the both of them. The 87 takes the high road now and lets the 77 go by. That means that Brian Underwood is back in 2nd position. 87 hangs with him good. And Pearson's not too far ahead, so I'm looking for Brian to come up towards that green car. Bussell is bringing it back out, although not very convincing at this point. Ballesteros is running. Pearson and Brian Underwood going for the lead here. Wolbury passing the number 15. It looks to me like that 15 had a little issue somewhere. Yep, there he touches the wall. Ooh, 51 gets away with that one. Little scary moment for the both of them. Underwood closing in on Pearson. And again, sparks flying, folks. That means that some of the bodywork is bottoming out. Well, he had a good run off of turn number 4 there, that Brian Underwood. Brings it to the inside of Bruce Pearson and passes him, and he makes it look very, very easy once again. So Brian Underwood is back in the lead. Pearson has to settle for 2nd, and look at the difference already. Half a second just in half a lap there. Looked to me like Brian had a phenomenal run off turn 4 there. Liston in 3rd, Doran still in 4th, Foskett in 5th. Ooh, Wolbury caught on the wall there. Let's bring that back and see what happens. Ooh, gets a touch from Bussell, and that catches him off guard and into the wall. Ballesteros is back on pit road. Been there for a bit. Skylar Grissom having trouble catching up with these guys in front of him. He is running, but still in 10th position, and he is really not making that much progress at this point. Wolbury is hanging on. Had to let that 15 go, but he's still moving. And so is Patricia Bratka now making a move on the 25. That is for the 8th position. And it looks like Bratka has got it. 25 blinking out there for a moment. Skylar Grissom closing in on him as well. Hopefully Skylar can make some progress here. He is faster as far as lap times is concerned. There he goes. He's coming underneath Patricia and takes that position away from him. So, well, he doesn't have it yet. He's still working on it. There you go. All right, Underwood is clearing out there in front. He's got over a second on Pearson at this point. And Pearson is at the point where he is seeing Liston in that mirror quite big. You can see that driver at work at the wheel there trying to correct all the movements the car is making on the bumps. Coming off the turn and getting on the gas is not easy when you're also dealing with a lot of bumps. And once again, folks, we've been over this before, but these cars are much more of a handful. Oh! He saves it. Let's bring that back. Coming off the turn, look at the back end fishtailing away there. Oh, and he saves it. It's amazing. That is skill. That is absolute skill. As I was saying, these cars are a handful, that's for sure. Compared to the modern day Cup cars, these cars move around quite a bit more. You feel the bumps a lot more. The body rolls more. The tires have less grip. The cars are heavier. So yeah, it's definitely not easy. And the 25 is coming down pit road here on lap number 85, just short 5 laps of halfway. Let's see, Ballesteros, is he still here? Nope, he has called it a night, and Stouffer and him are now both out of the race. I don't see, there he is. Michael Bussell is still moving. So if he keeps it up until the end, he might pick up 2 positions. Underwood still in the lead, a second. More than a second, 1.3 on Bruce Pearson. Lap number 86. Pearson and Liston still going at it together here. Doran is 1.8 behind them, and then the only close quarters we see here is Wolbury following Shelton at about half a second. Pearson now coming under pressure from Liston. Liston taking it to the bottom and passing Pearson for the 2nd position. Ooh, once again, you can see Liston sliding that back end. He catches it beautiful. It is a combination of throttle control and steering into the slide. If you can do it right, you can drift that car. But at these speeds, it is definitely not easy, and you can compare it a little bit to dirt racing on steroids. Wolbury closing in on Shelton here. Shelton on the high side. The 25 of Patricia is there as well, but he is 2 laps down. That pit stop cost him some time there. He's on fresh tires. That makes him a little bit quicker than the 51. He's going to go underneath there and take back some of what he's lost. But again, this is not for position. Patrica is still in 10th position. The 15 blinking a little bit, unfortunately. We've seen that most of this race. We are on lap 90, folks. We are halfway going into 91. It's been a good run so far. We haven't had that many incidents, and these guys are clearly having to manage their rubber. Underwood is now less than a second ahead of Liston, so Liston is gaining a little bit, and Liston seems to be pulling Pearson with him. Closest battle on track is Shelton. He is right behind Bratka, and I'm correcting myself there. I believe it's Bratka passing Shelton. Ooh, Skyler on pit road, out of 9th position. He's got 2 laps on Patrica, so he shouldn't be able to hang on to that, but let's see what he's going to be doing. Wobry in trouble. Let's see what happened to him. Ooh, too early on the gas. He's lucky we have a grass apron here. He doesn't hit anything, and he gets safely back on track, it looks like. Slowed it down significantly not to move into the 15, so good job. Skyler going back out. Underwood, 1.5 seconds on Liston. And then Pearson behind the 87 car. Doran about a second behind those guys. Foskett is about 4.5 seconds behind Doran. And then 3 seconds down to Russell Bratka. And that's what 1.5 second looks like on the racetrack. Shelton on pit road. Well, if we take a look at the strategy or the stint length here, we do indeed see that these guys have gotten quite a bit of laps on those cars already. Tires may be becoming an issue there for them. We are past halfway, so time for that third set maybe. Lap times are all above the 26 second mark at this point. Only driver I see below the 26 was Skyler Grissom on fresh tires. He has in fact dropped down behind Patrica, but they've gained on Shelton, and he is back out again as well. Liston and Pearson are keeping that gap about equal, and they are 1.8, almost 2 seconds behind Underwood at this point. Bratka on pit road, out of 7th position. Looks like Doran is catching up with Pearson. Bratka leaving pit road. Doran is catching up with the guys in front of him. And Dora now definitely putting pressure on Pearson here. Foskett going down pit lane here, out of 5th position. The 4 may have been a little bit too high there in turn 1 and 2. Wobry also on pit road. And Jim is still getting his service done there. The left side tires. There you go. He's back out. And it looks like Doran has passed Pearson. Let's bring that back for you real quick. There we go. Coming off of turn number 4, pretty strong there, puts it underneath, and then in turn 1, he will pass by that number 20 car of Bruce Pearson. Well done, good move. And he is already catching up to the 87. It looks like Luke has saved his tires quite well earlier on, and now it's looking very strong there compared to Liston and Pearson, who all pitted at the exact same point as he did. So he has saved his rubber a lot better than these other drivers. They're paying for it. There he comes. The 87 washes up a little bit, and he makes it look real. Oh, the 87 actually scrapes the wall there and loses a position to the 20 as well. Those tires are probably pretty much gone. Doran in 1 lap from 4th to 2nd. Four drivers still on the lead lap. The other ones have pitted, which means that they are 2 laps down, so the pit stops under green are quite costly. 2 laps. Underwood still going very strong, very low in the 26 seconds there. Liston decides to take it to pit road and get fresh rubber. Lap 110. And I'm pretty sure he's going to change all 4s. Underwood, as I was trying to say, is over 4 seconds ahead right now on Luke Doran. Yep, all 4s. And he's back on his way. Let's see where he comes out. He's also going 2 laps down. That was Underwood flashing by there. Doran in 2nd. Looks like he is a little bit quicker than Underwood, but really not by much. Also coming up to the 87 there of Liston. Pearson still in third. And everybody down from Liston has been in the pits, so we're waiting on these top three drivers. Underwood pitted 10 laps later than Doran and Pearson, so we can expect him to be the last one in. And that means he probably won't even have to give up his lead. And he's actually, 4 tires being that old, he's doing really good. He's just went underneath 20 seconds there. Doran 20 seconds flat. And now going underneath that 20-second mark as well. They're still doing pretty good there on lap times. So both Brian Underwood and Luke Doran have managed their tires really well. Bruce Pearson's a little bit slower. He's at 26.2. Brian now keeping Doran at about 3.5 seconds. Doran picking up the pace again, 0.2 of a second quicker than Underwood. Michael Bussell on pit road. Well, he's still soldiering on, and he's past Stouffer by now. Ooh, Underwood. He's been repassed by the 87 of Liston, so Liston has taken 1 lap back. He's running 25.3s, significantly quicker than the rest of them. And now comes the time where Brian, Luke, and Bruce are going to have to start thinking about maybe also pitting, unless they catch a yellow. That would be of big help. But if they don't catch that yellow, they shouldn't be waiting for Liston to catch those laps back up, because the green flag pit stop is going to cost you about 2 laps. So if Underwood would pit now, there's a good chance that he would be behind Todd Liston. But that is always tricky, folks, because if you stay out there and you do get the luck that a yellow comes out, then obviously that is all out the window, and you can keep part of that advantage of being a lap ahead. And that is probably what Brian is banking on. These are difficult decisions to make. I mean, in hindsight, you can say, oh, you should have done this or you should have done that. But when you're in there and you're still feeling that your car is good, and that is the case for Brian. I mean, he's running 26.2s, and Doran is a little bit quicker, but Pearson is also 26.3s. I mean, the car still doesn't feel that bad. He can still see Todd Liston, although Todd is a little bit quicker, and looks like Doran has taken the decision of coming in. He is taking the decision of coming in, get fresh rubber, and become and get on the same lap, hopefully, as Liston. But I'm pretty sure he's going to be behind Liston as well. So Underwood and Pearson. And the thing is, if you decide to stay out and you bank on that yellow, then if you change your strategy, it's probably going to hurt you even more. So you want to stick with the choice you made. Well, there's their choice. They're on pit road, Pearson and Underwood, and Doran is on his way out, so he is, let's see, we'll have to see how that pans out there with Todd Liston. Todd Liston is coming by the exit of the pits now, so now Todd Liston's back on the lead lap, and Doran is in fact behind him, and it's not that far. As you can see, it is only, it's just under a second. Now let's see where these guys pan out. Underwood back on his way out. Pearson still getting service on the left side. So Underwood is actually still ahead of Liston. There comes Liston. There is Underwood. He's actually kept himself in the lead here, and that I can't help but wonder if he did not take all fours, because Pearson is only now getting back out and he drops to fifth. So I think Brian has took a chance there on taking maybe 2 tires, and that way he stayed in front of Doran, and he has a 1.6 second lead. So I think he may have done a very nice made a very nice choice here of only taking 2 tires and keeping the track position that way. Smart move. Pearson right behind Jim Foskett, and that is for position at this point. Pearson obviously on fresh rubber, so the 47 will have his hands full. There you see it. The 20 comes underneath. The 47 takes the safe way, the safe high road. Pearson in fourth. Liston still in third, and he is almost 2.5 seconds behind Luke Doran. Underwood is keeping Luke Doran at 1.7 seconds, so he's keeping him at bay there. Lap times, as you can see on the top left of your screen, they are popping out there right now. 25.1, 25.2 pretty much, and then a 26.3. So Underwood is not slower than Doran at all. Lap number 127, I'm sorry, for Brian Underwood. Oh, we've had an issue here. Let's find out what happened. It's Michael Bussell that is in trouble. Looks like he scrubbed the wall there coming off of turn 2 and then flips it around going into 3. Ay, 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 ay. Let's bring it back one more time. Coming off of turn 2, he runs up wide, touches the wall, and gets off balance, brings it back into the wall, and then flips it around. Yeah, these cars flip around a heck of a lot easier. He does get touched there. I believe that was Patricia that touched him. And this leaves him no choice but to take that tow back to the pits. And there it is. Under yellow at lap number 128, Brian Underwood staying out. He has been on pit road 7 laps ago. He doesn't think he needs the new tires. Pearson ditto, he is also staying out. While Patricia gets the wave around, Doran, Liston, Foskett, Bratka, Shelton, Grissom, Wobry, all on pit road. There is Liston, Bratka. There you see Foskett up in the air. And Skylar Grissom. That's Doran moving out already, followed by Bratka pretty closely. So Bratka picks up some positions here. Liston still on pit road. There he goes. Patricia brings it in. He was a lap down, obviously, so he had to wait to come in. And there goes Skylar back out, and Jacob is going back out, and Michael is still standing. That tow probably takes a little bit. If the car's upside down, it becomes quite significant. Well, we're on lap 130, so we've got about 50 laps to go here. Well, and the difference between tires for all these guys now, Underwood and Pearson didn't pit, but there's only 7 laps difference here. So that is not that significant. Patricia coming back out. Skyler is back in. And Bussell still standing there. Hope Skyler's doing all right. He's getting new tires now. Did he not take tires the first time around? Ooh, he's taking the outside now. Bratka back in. Whoa, what happened here? He's going in and then decides not to. And why is that? Because the lights on the pace car have been turned off and we're going to go racing next time around. So going into lap number 132, we have 49 laps to go when we get the green flag. Michael Bussell still on pit road, no movement there. Skyler Grissom is back out, trying to catch up to the field in 10th position.
Green, green, green.
All right, we're back racing again, folks, and what I can tell you from pit road is that Drew Ballesteros has left the race because the engine blew. So he must have been running hot or something. Looks like Brian Underwood had a great start here. Bruce Pearson hanging on to second position with Doran right behind him. Again, the difference between these guys is rubber isn't all that sharp. The 4 almost touching this 20. Going into turn 3. Looks like he runs a little bit lower line, and he keeps that car by the yellow line to bring it underneath the 20. Going into turn 1, he has the lower line, and he picks up second position there. Pearson has to settle. Foskett closing in on Pearson as well. Ooh, he's going to try the high side. He thinks the better of it at this point. Is he going to pursue this? Yes, he is. On the high side, taking the 20 around the long way. Ooh, the 87 washes up almost into the 47. Foskett coming off turn number 2. Very good on that higher side. Takes the 87 along with him in the draft. '87 also on that higher side strongly. It looks like the 20 is getting overrun a little bit here. Bruce Pearson. Ooh, almost a touch there. The 15 almost touches there as well. The 87 had to get out of that. That was a little bit too much. Too close to the wall, it looked like. And meanwhile, Luke Doran is closing in on Underwood. So we've got 2 battles to keep track of here. Pearson and Liston. And the 15 of Shelton closing in. The 87 now going underneath into turn number 3. That looks like he can get that to stick. He is wiggling a little bit there. He is really on edge. He's seriously on edge. And the 15 goes underneath him, and you could see that coming. That was a little bit too much, I believe, for the 15 to try that at that point. That looked to me like it was a little bit risky. He comes off the turn 4 really well, but there's 2 cars side by side in front of him. He goes to the bottom and makes it 3 wide, and then there's just not enough room. Ooh, it looks like the 87 actually slid out there, and we're not going yellow. That's surprising. He almost catches it, and then he gets a touch from the 11. almost catching, ooh, into the wall there, into the barrels of water. Very, very unfortunate for Todd Liston. He was doing pretty good there. That was a risky move by the 15. I can't help but saying that. I mean, I understand you're racing, but making it 3 wide at this point, that was a big chance to take. All right, so what we missed here is that Luke Doran has picked up the lead. We can try to bring it back for you. It's already happened, it looked like. There it is. On the main straightaway coming to the inside. And it looked like they stayed side by side for a bit there. The 77 on the high side, but it's Luke Doran that now is your leader. Back live again, lap 141. We have 40 laps to go. And Doran is your leader in front of Brian Underwood. So even though there's only 7 laps difference on those tires, they do seem to be working for Doran pretty good. But it could also be that Brian is just thinking, all right, I'll get you back later. I'll save my stuff until later and I'll come back. This is not a done deal at all. Jim Foskett is now in 3rd position because of the mishap between Shelton and Liston and who was it? Wolbury? No, Pearson. I'm sorry, Pearson. Pearson's still running, and he's in 7th. He had to let Bobby Petricka go as well. And Todd Liston still on pit road. I hope he gets back out there, but he's losing a lot of time, obviously. Luke Doran in the lead, half a second on Brian Underwood. Foskett in 3rd. Let's go check on Skylar Grissom. Skylar is now in 8th. He is in front of Russell Bratka. Bratka is 12 seconds behind Skylar. I believe he also got caught up in that incident there. So yeah, I will say that he's blinking in and out a little bit too. He took a chance there, and it didn't work out for the best for everybody. Well, let's see here. Bobby Petricka in the 25 is in 5th position. He is 2.7 behind Shelton, and he's got Wolbury in his mirrors. Less than a second there. Bussell is back on pit road, but he has passed Ballesteros and Stouffer, so he picked up 2 positions by coming back out. And that might be why he's not moving anymore, because he's 86 laps behind. He is, let me see, he's 78 laps behind Liston, so that's not going to work anymore with 40 laps to go. So there's no point. There you have Pearson. Some damage on the right front and rear. Wolbury ahead of him. And it looks like Petricka is keeping Wolbury at bay pretty good. Foskett seems to be gaining on... I'm sorry, Shelton seems to be gaining on Foskett. And there you have it. Picks up 3rd position. Well, trying to at least. Not there yet. He's pinching that 47 up by the wall there on the backstretch. Ooh, the 47 almost loses the back end there coming off turn 4. Shelton picks up 3rd. Doran and Underwood getting a little closer again. Looks like Underwood is bringing it down to reel Doran back in here. That's exactly what I was talking about. He probably just kind of let him go and thinking to save his tires a little bit and come back later, and that's exactly what he's doing. Two Chevys here. Ooh, that 4 is slip sliding on the back end there. And it allows Underwood to catch that lead. Fairly safe move there. Doran was sliding a little bit in turn 4. And he had to get out of that. Underwood back in the lead, back where he was. Doran there in second. Then it is Shelton not that far behind. Foskett in 4th. Patrica in 5th. Wobry in 6th. Pearson 7th. Skylar Grissom 8th. Russell Bratka, final running car there in 9th position. Unfortunately, we do not see Todd Liston here anymore. He has left the race, and that is a sad ending to his endeavors there. He really did a good job. Lap number 154 going into 155. 26 laps to go. And it looks like Underwood is pulling away from Doran. Now he's got about 6/10 of a second. It's not going fast, but it's going. Lap time's fairly equal. You see them popping out there, and actually it is Underwood that is just a tad quicker than Doran. Not by much. And let's take a look at the fuel situation. I'm fairly sure these guys will be good on fuel. We've seen as many as 80 plus laps on fuel, so yeah, I'm fairly sure they're all good. Tires will be the biggest issue. But unless we see a yellow, I doubt that they will come in, and then the question will be, how many sets have they got left? And unfortunately, I cannot tell you that. The scoring doesn't show me that, but it wouldn't surprise me one bit if there were drivers here that don't have a set left. Well, I'm fairly sure Underwood would still have a set left. I doubt that he would have taken tires on that first pit stop there after 21 laps. And it looks like Doran is reeling him back in again. As you can see, he was 2/10 of a second quicker there on that last lap. This is not over. Shelton's dropping off to about 4.5 seconds at this point. Jim Foskett is almost 3 seconds behind Shelton. And then Patrica, 3.6 seconds there. That's getting pretty crowded here. Wobry is passing him on the inside. Bruce Pearson's right there. Whoa, the 25 up into the wall. Skylar Grissom coming alongside there and taking advantage of that. Patrica loses 3 to 4 positions there in one turn, washing up into the wall there. That's unfortunate for him. Bruce Pearson in 5th now, Wobry in 6th, and Grissom in 7th. So Skylar finally picking up some positions again. And Skylar's looking pretty racy with the 51. Yep. It looks like the 51 washes up a little bit too high. I see the back end stepping out just a tad. The 24 in 6th position. Skylar Grissom picks up another one. Underwood is definitely seeing Doran grow in his mirrors. I mean, the speed difference is not that much. As you can see, those last laps, they were pretty much equal there. But Brian's advantage has shrunk to about half a second now. $15 to go. And it looks like Doran is pretty much equally fast as Underwood. So now it's just going to be a matter of who makes the slightest mistakes and who doesn't. And that's how you can gain on them. But it looks to me like these cars are pretty much equal. It looks like Doran is, in fact, closing in there. He sure is. Underwood looks like he's already trying to defend a little bit by trying to keep that 77 down. Ooh, this is going to get close here, folks. It looks like the 4 still had something left. What does Underwood still have left? Really wide out of turn 4 there, Luke Doran. And it looks like that 77's getting a little loose on entry, and the 4 comes alongside. The pass for the lead here. The 77 lets him go at this point. 10 laps to go. Luke Doran picks up the lead. Skylar Grissom is in trouble. What happened to Skylar Grissom? He touched the wall, and he couldn't get it off of the wall. Bounces off onto the apron there and into the inside retainer wall. Takes a tow to the pit. That is going to be a lengthy repair for sure. And Doran definitely had something left there. He's pulling away from Underwood by 6/10 of a second now. Looks like Underwood is slowing down a little bit and might probably think, okay, let's just bring it home in second. If we can't win it, we can be second. And that is still a pretty good result. And Doran has actually gained 12 positions since the start of the race. He started in last position. So he has done a phenomenal job here. Yes, Underwood is in trouble. The times are creeping up now, 26.9. And he's going to have to be careful for Shelton not to get too close, because Shelton is quicker than Underwood. Those tires are probably shot. Yes, you can tell he's careful there to not overdo it anymore. It looks to me like Brian, his times are dropping over 27 seconds right now. The good thing is that Shelton wasn't that much quicker. He was, in fact, slower. Doran's the only one that keeps it in the neighborhood of 26 seconds right now, so he's pulling away. Look at that, 4 seconds already. Underwood is in trouble. And he's got 2.8 seconds on Shelton, so unless Shelton picks up a lot of speed here, it looks like he's fairly safe for second, but he is losing out on Shelton a little bit. Doran, meanwhile, is just keeping on going, 26.1. He can ease off a little bit, obviously. But sometimes you don't even want to do that unless you really have to, because it takes away your focus. And you don't want to slow down too much and just make a mistake because you get lazy. And Underwood, again, a 27.3. There in the background, you can see Shelton coming up. He has picked up the pace. He is smelling second place. Under a second now. Shelton is closing in. And Brian is going to be in trouble here. Here comes Shelton. There he is. Blasting by like he is standing still there. Brian is in trouble. And I'm sure we'll hear from him after the race there about his tires. But yeah, he is struggling. Shelton picks up second position here, and Doran looks like he's got it in the bag. He's going to get the white flag as we pass the flag stand here. Luke Doran is going to get it. Shelton is 8 seconds behind him, so that's not a threat anymore. Look at that car damaged and beat up. But he is still going strong, 26.4 there. And Brian Underwood is safe for third position, it looks like, although Foskett is coming in closer, but it's still over a second. I'm sure he's okay. Luke Doran wins here at Rockingham, North Carolina. Ben Shelton is going to come out of turn 4 to pick up second position. And then it's Brian Underwood barely holding off Jim Foskett there. Foskett up to 0.3 of a second. And he is in fourth place. And then Bruce Pearson, Jacob Aubrey, Bobby Petricka, and Russell Bratka. Ooh, a lot of smoke there. I didn't see who that was. So Luke Doran brings it home in first. Very, very nicely done. Well, he's actually pretty good at that. And then he brings it home in what we call the winner circle here at Rockingham Speedway, North Carolina. So let's go and find these guys. Brian, this is Mark in the booth. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir.
Brian, you looked very strong all race long. You got yourself further forward at some point on strategy. It looked like, and you looked really strong there up until about, what was it, 10 laps to go, and then Luke got past you, and it looked like you were struggling from there on. Was it the tires?
Yeah, within 2 laps before Luke passed me, I had got a warning from the crew chief on running on worn tires. So after that point, it really fell apart.
Yeah, indeed. And the thing is, though, there was only 7 laps difference in pit stops. You pitted last on 121, and Luke last on 128. So the difference wasn't that big. Did you have the feeling that you maybe asked a little bit too much of your tires to get past Luke earlier?
Oh, for sure. I knew with even with 7 lap tires, that's quite a bit, especially at Rockingham. Um, I knew if I didn't get in front of them and try to save my tires in, but I just couldn't save tires with Luke behind me. He was pretty good.
Yeah, I looked like it. Yeah, but then again, he basically had the same problem with only 7 laps difference. That is not a very large difference at all. So for some reason, he was able to just maybe pull a little bit more out of that. How was the fuel situation, Brian? It looked to me like you guys were all right on fuel.
Yeah, there was no issue. He could pretty much make it on just one stop on fuel.
All right, that sounds like it's not an issue at all, indeed. Well, all right, Brian, still a pretty good finish for you, man. You brought it home in third. Ben Shelton you couldn't keep him down. I saw your lap times really quickly creeping up over to above 20 seconds, 27 seconds, I should say, and then even over 28. So that really told me you were probably running on the canvas there.
Yeah, I was definitely counting down the laps. I was thinking I was a lose third there too as well. Just got lucky.
Yeah, Jim got pretty close. He was 3/10 of a second behind you on the line there, so he got pretty close for sure.
For sure, yeah. It was a good race with everybody. It was a really clean race from everybody I ran with, especially Luke and
Absolutely, it looked to me like everybody. You guys all have these cars well under control, and I can see sometimes that it's back ends want to step out a little bit. Sometimes on entry, sometimes on exit, and there's quite a few times where I see you guys, all of you guys, catch those cars pretty good. It also feels like it's a pretty bumpy track here, in it, Brian?
oh, definitely, especially when you get on the worn out tires. Especially exiting too is my biggest issue is keeping the rear end under myself. And there's a few times. I mean,
Yeah,
you've
there.
seen it.
I'm sure that everybody's had their fair share of those little incidents where you're thinking, "Ooh, I got away with that one." So, all right, Brian. Well, again, man, a third position is a very good finish for you. You got a little lucky there at the end, I guess. But congratulations once again. Any love yous and thank yous you want to throw out?
Shout out to Skylar for the league, and once again for you guys jumping on short notice. And say all the guys showed up tonight. I mean, 12 drivers, I believe it was, and wish we had more, but it was still pretty good.
We actually had 13 tonight. I think Michael
13.
Bussell was an addition tonight. So yeah, actually that was a pretty good field. Pretty much the size we normally have. It would be fun if we had more, but then again, you would also have some drivers in there maybe that don't handle these cars quite as well yet. Let's move on to Ben Shelton there. Ben, you were passing Brian there because he was basically running on the canvas there. A little bit earlier on, there was a bit of a situation there with who was it? Todd Liston and Bruce Pearson, where you got underneath there, and there was a bit of a door banging going on there. What happened from your perspective there, Ben?
Yeah, it's I was sitting behind him for a few laps. Seemed like I was a couple seconds faster than him, and I kept seeing the guys in front start moving away, and I just felt like I had to make a move. And I don't know if I caused a wreck or if anything happened, but I just felt like I had to make my move. They were a
Well,
couple. It
well,
seemed to be a couple seconds filler.
Yeah, I'll be really honest with you. It looked to me, I'm not going to blame you for anything. That it's part of it is this is just racing, and you're racing for position. You're explaining that very clearly here, and obviously you want to get ahead. I get it, but it looked to me like you were really very low there, and it looked like Pearson was washing up a little bit, and it really got to being three wide, and there wasn't much of a touch, but it was enough to upset Liston's car a little bit, I guess. They there was kind of a domino effect from there, obviously. But again, I'm not saying that to blame you for anything because it's just hard racing for position. And all in all, if I look at the whole thing here, I mean, you guys are very good with these cars, and I know they're not easy. They're a handful, especially on a bumpy track like this, Ben. So don't please don't take this the wrong way.
Oh no worries, man.
But again, man, second place, very good finish for you. And you had to come from quite a ways back there. I believe you had an earlier spin around caused by somebody else, but that kind of dropped you off quite a bit, didn't it?
Yeah, it seemed like the race was like a roller coaster. It started out, seemed like it was starting pretty good. I had a good feeling about it, and then that happened, and I thought, well, this is pretty much it. But I just stayed in it, and the cards fell right, and I ended up with a second place. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Exactly, and that's kind of why I'm bringing it up too, because it works both ways. Sometimes you're the victim, and sometimes somebody else is, and it's all part of it, obviously. But you hung in there, and you brought it back forward. So you got a little lucky with Brian's tires being completely gone at the end. There, picks up second position. That's a pretty good result for you, man. And again, congratulations on that. Any love yous and thank yous you want to throw out?
Yeah, I just want to thank Skylar. He keeps does a great job with it, and I appreciate him for all he does, and I want to appreciate you for putting it on for us, man. I do appreciate that.
You're most welcome. I love doing it, man. All right, Ben. Again, go celebrate. You deserve it.
I appreciate it.
All right, that brings us to the winner, Luke Doran. It looked like tire management was everything here tonight.
Yeah, it definitely was. I didn't make a long run in practice, so in the first part of the race, I was kind of just riding around just to see what the tire wear looked like, and luckily I saved that set to use at the end.
Now, as I pointed out earlier, it looked to me you pitted last on lap 28, 128, and Brian on lap 121. That's only 7 laps difference. So obviously, I was kind of looking at it. Well, this is going to be pretty equal to the end. But it turned out that Brian just asked a little bit too much, chasing you down and keeping you at bay there in second for a while. And it looked like you kind of took that kind of patiently and kind of just waited your chance there.
Yeah, after I got in front of him the first time before he passed me, um, and then obviously I got him back, but he was definitely pushing me kind of hard, and I got loose a couple times, and I'm like, yeah, I can't do this or I'm going to wreck. So I kind of just, ran my own pace, and he got by me, and luckily he burned his stuff up.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, what you did there is just patience won you the race here, if I can put it that way.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes that doesn't work out, because a caution will come out or something. So you want to keep the lead, obviously. But, I knew I was going to wreck if I tried to stay in front of him.
I hear you, and sometimes it's better to just think about better second than nothing, obviously. But also, when you're running in field with 13 cars, there was 3 cars that were done, so there was basically 10 cars on track. The odds of yellows become smaller and smaller, obviously, Luke. So the fact that you start thinking about longer runs is makes sense to me. Is that on your mind as well?
Well, I mean, I always try and plan for longer runs, especially, you know, uh, at the beginning and the middle of the race, because you don't know when a caution is going to come out. But when you run your tires off the rim, you know it then. So I always try and take care of my stuff no matter what, unless it's just a caution fest, and then obviously you can't. But yeah, I always try and take care of my tires.
Well, exactly, and you know, given what we've seen so far this season, this is race number 4 so far. To me, it feels like we really had all races where you know, yes, there's a few cautions here and there, but it's not a caution fest at all at any time. So and that, I mean that as a compliment to all the drivers in this series. I think everybody's doing a phenomenal job. I've tried these cars myself. They're not easy. They're definitely a handful to drive. When you get loose, I'm sure you'll confirm that it's not just steering into the slide, but it's also working the throttle to make sure those wheels don't start spinning.
Yeah, and it's kind of inconsistent too. You know, you'll do the same thing a couple laps in a row, and then that third lap, all of a sudden it jumps loose on you.
Yeah,
So,
obviously that is also tires and giving out on you, and the bumps don't help there either, probably.
oh no, Rockingham is probably one of the bumpiest tracks that we go to, and what's weird about Rockingham, and on a lot of places are like this, but you know, you can get really loose on entry and on exit. So especially with these cars, I mean, they're just sliding all around Rockingham, hitting the bumps, and you know that's why you got to Darlington and maybe this track. Really, you have to just race the racetrack and give a lot of space to everybody.
Absolutely. It almost sounds like you guys would burn up the right rear before you would burn up the front rear like they do in the modern cars.
Yeah, I took two tires last week to win the race, and after the first run, I'm like, no two tires today. Like my pretty much all four tires um, were wearing out pretty bad, a lot more evenly than they do at most tracks.
I hear you. All right. Well, look. Thanks for the explanations there, man. Again, that makes it 2 in a row, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. I didn't see this coming.
And with Drew Ballesteros finishing in 12th position, being out of the race with a blown engine, that looks like you're going to be moving up in the standings there to the top position, Luke. So congratulations on that, man. Any love yous and thank yous you want to throw out there?
Yeah, I got Skyler for putting it on as always. He does a great job. You for picking us up this year. All the guys that showed up tonight, I know it wasn't that big of a field. I heard y'all talking about it. You know, hopefully we can get it bigger. But you never know, it being so close to Christmas, who may be out of town or got something going on. But shout out to the guys who did show up and who raced clean tonight.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you very much, Luke. Go celebrate, my friend. You definitely deserve it.
Appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
You too. All right, folks, there you have it, the top 3 finishers. Let's bring those results on the screen for you. That's not right. We've got the wrong session there, so let's quickly get that figured out here. There we go. That's the race results. That's what we were looking for. Luke Doran wins it. You heard him say it was basically a tire management race here. We've heard from Brian there in third position as well. He was basically, and by the time your team or your spotter starts telling you that your tires are worn, that means the worn. That means there's really not much left, and you run the risk of blowing them up. So that's why he was very, very careful. We could see those lap times going up very quickly to 27, even 28 seconds on the last lap, 28.4 on the final lap there. So I mean that means that it's really gone. Once they call it out on the radio, that means you're pretty much done. And obviously pitting at couple of laps before the finish is not an option because you would have gone down 2 laps. So he chose for the to maintain the position as good as he could, and he barely got away with that. Jim Foskett was only 3/10 of a second behind him at the line, so that was pretty close there. Ben Shelton in between there in second position, got a little lucky, and again the situation with Liston and Pearson. Again, not to blame anybody, but I called it out during the race. It was a ballsy move, and sometimes you have to make ballsy moves to improve your position. And obviously, this happens to all of us. We sometimes become the victim of somebody's move, and sometimes somebody else becomes a victim of our move. And as long as we keep it as clean as possible, I think we're all good. Fourth place for Foskett. Bruce Pearson brings it home in fifth. That's not bad at all. He ran with the top guys there for a while, but again, I believe it also in his case it was tire management. Jacob Wobry in sixth, Bobby Petricka in seventh, Russell Bratka in eighth, Skylar Grissom brings it home in ninth, 10 laps down from the rest of them. Todd Liston, he was a victim there of that situation with Ben and Bruce. Then Michael Bussell, he soldiered on for quite a bit here, and at least picked up another 2 positions and then called it quits. Drew Ballesteros, we saw in on pit road there that he blew the engine, and Chris Stouffer in 13th position. We saw his incident there as well early on, 159 laps ago. So unfortunate finish for the race for him. And again, folks, I want to reiterate that these cars are definitely a handful, and I think all 13 drivers here tonight have proven that they can handle these cars pretty good. And you've seen, we showed you some of the situations where they got loose and saved it, and unfortunately that doesn't always happen. The bumps can hit you the wrong way. You can just be a fraction of a moment too late, and then you can't save it, as we've also seen Skylar Grissom do there at the end. That's just the way it is with these cars. It's not easy, and you really have to be sharp the entire race. You have to be on top of everything. So next week we're going to try this again. Unfortunately, I don't have the schedule, and I do not know where we're going next week. We'll have to surprise you with that, and I'm sure we will. The WOSCRL Throwback Series is sponsored, folks, by Future Design Building Materials. We appreciate their support for this series. We hope to see you again next week on Saturday night, same time, different place. Until then, folks, stay healthy and take care of one another.